Hi everyone, welcome back to our channel. My name is Nas.
And I'm Alba, and in this video we want to share with you the harsh reality of backpacking in Costa Rica. If after this video you still decide to go to Costa Rica, stick around because at the end we will share with you our top tips for backpacking this country. Before we jump in, make sure to subscribe to our channel as we have lots of amazing traveling content coming every week.
There's a lot of amazing things about this country. To start, it's the most biodiverse country in the world. There's a lot of animals, a lot of plants, a lot of forests, everything to see. The people are really friendly and there's countless places to discover. However, this does not mean that Costa Rica is a good place to backpack. And here are reasons why.
Firstly, it's too expensive, especially in comparison to other Central American countries.
For example, to go from the airport to Monteverde, we paid $70 per person. To get a private taxi, true, but the shuttle was $60 per person.
Yeah.
So you'd be sharing it with other people, and
yeah.
If you compare it to, for example, if to Cancun or to Tulum or anywhere in Mexico, you have ADO buses.
Yeah.
Right? So you can get those for fairly cheap, $10 max.
Yeah. So the price difference is really, really big in comparison to other American countries.
Reason number two, it's hard to get around, right? So the roads are not, they're currently building different highways in the country, but as of right now, it's very difficult to get around. Even if you rent a car, which is a whole different thing, it's still very difficult to go from point A to point B, and it takes time. You can be stuck behind a lorry, and a trip that will take you 3 hours will take 6 hours. You can be going up a mountain, and if you don't have a 4x4, your car may not go up. The mountains are basically like this, and up and down, tough, very tough. And just in general, it's not easy to get from San Jose to Puerto Viejo or to Jaco or to Tamarindo or to Nosara, wherever it is that you're trying to go. It's going to be expensive and it's going to be difficult to get to.
Even shared shuttles are really difficult to organize. You have to book everything in advance, and we thought we would just be able to rock up to the airport and find a shuttle because we were seeing online all these really high prices for taxis and shared shuttles that we thought might as well just book it when we get there, like you can do in all other Central American and South American countries, but not in Costa Rica. When we arrived at the airport, they were like, there's no shared shuttles here, you only can take a taxi. So it's very difficult to get around for sure.
Reason number three, it's a hard country to travel. If you've backpacked before, you know that every country has a common route. If you go to Mexico, you go down Quintana Roo. If you go to Thailand, you can go to the north and you can see Chiang Mai, Chiang Mai. If you go to the south, you can see the islands. Every country has its own way, it has its own route. But in Costa Rica, everything is spread around. There's no agreeable way to do Costa Rica as a backpacker. You kind of have to choose an area and go there and then try to find a way to go to another part of the country. And that makes it a little bit more difficult to decide how you're going to travel, how you're going to backpack it.
Basically, if you want to see the whole country, you'll most likely have to go in circles around the country because also the roads are built around the city, the capital of San Jose. So you have to pass by the same spots to go from place A, B to C. Number four, you have to plan in advance. I cannot stress how important this is, and this is one of the reasons why for us it's not a very backpacking friendly destination, because when you're with a backpack on, you want to improvise, you want to meet people and, you know, just kind of go with the flow a little bit, and you're not able to do that in Costa Rica. We left all our travels to the last minute and everything was booked up. We've already mentioned how difficult it is to get around in Costa Rica, and that's why a lot of people choose to rent a car. But car rentals book up months in advance, so you will not be able to find a car when you arrive there. No chance, they'll all be booked. And
they're super expensive as well. We tried to book a 4x4 just a few days before arriving in Costa Rica. There was only a few, and they were upwards of $2,000 for a week.
And they were in San Jose, meaning you'd have to take them from San Jose and drop it back in San Jose, which if you're going to the airport is fine, but if you're backpacking, most likely you're going to exit by land to another country or taking a plane from another airport, so it's not very helpful.
And number five, this is a bit of a hot take, but I felt like the backpacking vibes were just not there. There's a lot of Americans, North Americans, Canadians, and there's a lot of good people, a lot of nice people, but it's not a backpacking vibe at all. You cannot go to the equivalent of a Khao San Road in Thailand. You cannot go to a place that's like Siargao in the Philippines. There's not this one place where you can find and meet a lot of people. There's a few spots that you can, for example, Puerto Viejo, different vlog, whole different conversation.
Santa Teresa is popping as well lately, but it just feels some more of a family destination. We're going there for a proper holiday.
Yeah, and maybe that justifies the prices as well that you get in Costa Rica.
Yeah, whilst there is a lot of other places in Central America and South America that have this vibe of backpacking where you can meet more people and it's just kind of easier to travel.
Okay, so we spent about 10 days in Costa Rica. 1 day San Jose, which is the capital, 3 days in Monteverde, which is basically a cloud forest, 3 days in Jaco, which is a surfing town on the Pacific side, and then 3 days in Puerto Viejo, which is an up-and-coming local community in the Caribbean side. All of them different experiences, but it gave us a good insight on the country.
Based on that experience, here are our top tips to backpack Costa Rica.
Top tip number 1, we cannot stress enough, plan in advance. It's tough out there when you're backpacking. A lot of the times we'll make plans last minute, but if you're traveling Costa Rica, you know that this is a requirement, not just for transportation, but also for booking accommodation and the places that you want to go to. Make sure you plan that in advance.
Which takes us to point number 2. Think about transport. Think about it ahead. You can't just rock up to a place and get a shared shuttle. Usually, if you do want to get a shared shuttle, you'll have to book it in advance. There are some websites online where you can book this, and you can do this when you're still in your home country.
Yeah, and also this is not very common and it's not very advertised, but there is a public bus that's a tenth of the price. These don't go out from the airport or anywhere near the touristic area. They go straight from San Jose. So make sure you check out our blog because we'll leave the details there.
Yeah, we've actually written a blog where we've shared all the useful links where you can have all of these things booked. So I'll leave the link in the description. Make sure to check it out if you're planning to go to Costa Rica soon.
Top tip number 3. Be careful with accommodation. So accommodation in Costa Rica is not the same as the other countries. You can find a much better quality version of a hostel in Mexico or Guatemala for half of the price. And the truth is that Costa Rica is a very biodiverse country. So that means there's gonna be insects, there's gonna be animals trying to go into your room. The place where we went, there was an alligator once, a few possums, and we had the pleasure of having rats. So not a great experience. Be prepared for that.
Yeah.
Make sure you check the accommodation that you're booking well in advance and
yes, and this goes back to how expensive things are. The quality for what you're paying for is much lower than in other places because the demand is so high. The prices are higher than they should be, to be honest. So if you are picky about accommodation, you might want to consider spending a little bit more on it. Or again, just make sure you book it really in advance because the good places go out fast. Number 4, enter Costa Rica with an outbound flight ticket. And this may not be an issue for everybody, but it is something to take into consideration. When you are backpacking, it is difficult to know where you're going next, when you're going next, and to have these things booked ahead is tough. But when we were flying to Costa Rica from Guatemala, they wouldn't let us check in because we didn't have a flight that left Costa Rica. We had bus tickets that left Costa Rica into Panama. And I actually read online, if you read online, you'll find that everybody is saying that it's fine, that the law says that you only need to prove that you're going to exit the country. But our airline that we flew with were saying that that's not enough, and they could not check us in without an outbound flight, and we had to buy one on the spot at the airport. Again, this might not happen to everybody, but it is worth considering, and just kind of have that in your back pocket if you can.
And top tip number 5, and the last one, look for local options. Chances are, if you go to Costa Rica, there's gonna be a lot of restaurants, a lot of places that are built specifically for tourists because they know they know how to make money.
Yeah.
But there's always going to be local options. They will probably not be in the center. You'll probably have to walk a little bit far out. But honestly, you get the most genuine experience, you get the most genuine food, you get a more affordable price, and you might even get to meet more people if you do so.
Yeah, so ask around and try to find those more off the beaten path locations. For a meal, you might pay half of the price than you would pay in a tourist place. So in a tourist restaurant, we would normally pay around $25 for the both of us in a touristic restaurant, but in a local restaurant it would be somewhere between $12 to $15. So that's a significant amount when you're eating out all the time.
Yeah. All right, that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you made it this far, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel if you haven't done so.
We have amazing content coming weekly, and you can check us out on our social media as well. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next video.